So, tell me something terrible. Are you judging me for watching golf shots before we start?
No.
You can.
Yes. Did he make a hole in one?
No.
Did he at least make it under par?
He had a 343-yard drive.
Okay.
That's a lot.
Sure. It's longer than a football
It's longer than a football?
field. Football field.
You can outdrive a football.
Can I, though?
If you make contact, sure.
Which happens how often?
About 60% of the time. Every time.
It works every time.
Are you ready to start?
Yeah. Oh, hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Scott.
And
Sorry, my breath wasn't right.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
Yeah, you are.
Is her greenie going to distract you?
She's chomping loudly right next to us, yes. But that's okay.
I don't think it'll pick it up. She's
I'll overcome
very
it.
tiny.
I'll overcome it.
Okay. You seem very distracted tonight.
Me?
Yes.
We started drinking like 2 hours ago. By we, I mean I. No, you were mowing the lawn and drinking.
I was.
Yeah.
Listening to a podcast.
Yeah, you were.
Because that's what I do on my spare time. I research and listen.
Yep.
all
She has no time for us.
That's not true.
I
We
should
spent
have
all the time together this weekend.
I should have had a cup of coffee before we started drinking, though.
Your yawn, it's...
It inspired your yawn?
Yeah.
Good.
All right. You ready to get sciencey?
Also, we had salad for dinner again. Why do we keep doing this? We're not overly healthy people. We just have salad for dinner occasionally. Apparently on the nights we drink, probably because we want the booze to be more effective.
Sure.
And then when it comes time to actually drink, it
hits you harder. They say the most important meal of the day is the one you eat before you start drinking.
Who says that?
The internet.
Oh.
Okay.
I don't spend as much time on it as you.
No, and I'm starting to get to the deep, dark corners that just make me sad, and I have to go take naps afterwards.
My goal is to tweet out once a day, hit one Pokestop, and catch one Pokemon a day. Just keep my streaks going.
Yep.
Got to keep that XP flowing.
Oh, no. Lily never played Pokemon Go today.
Oh, no, you might have to play for her.
Oh, no. I probably should. That'd be the nice thing that a mother would do.
Yeah, that's exactly
Got
what.
to keep those Pokemon stats up for her.
Yeah, yep. Because she cares a lot about her level. Just kidding.
She just gets real excited about it.
She just likes new one, and she likes telling me if she has one that I don't.
She did play this morning while we were waiting for the
there
bus.
you go. There you go. You're good
Yep.
then.
Yep.
We have 2 Pokestops we can hit from our living room couch, so it's pretty much the best part about buying this house.
Yes.
We don't have to leave the house, and we can drop a lure.
Yep.
Anyway.
All right. Have you nerded out enough?
Sure.
Let's nerd out a little bit more.
Okay.
Yep. So we haven't covered a disease in a while.
Was the last one TB?
Yep. In episode 4?
The TB13. I believe that's episode 3.
3.
Yeah.
So it has been a solid
Because
45 episodes.
there was a
or more
long
since-
time there where episode 1, 2, and 4 did pretty well.
Right.
In that episode.
And nobody wanted to
that
hear
episode-
about
yeah.
caves and...
That episode
TV.
lagged for a long... Now they're all about the same. Episode 1 has the most of all of our episodes because new listeners...
That's
where they
the
start.
episode they
Yeah.
give up on.
Yeah. Or everyone that listened, they're like, oh, you guys started a podcast, I'll listen. And then that's the only one they listen to, which is fine. We appreciate them just as much. But
Do we, though?
But we used to. Now we don't. But episode 3, we always dipped for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was like, oh, we should put 10% into the name of these things because it oddly matters.
Yeah, because yours was some weird, obscure sports reference, and I was like, sure.
I don't think the TB13's that. TB12, you've never heard of TB12?
No,
Still?
Scott, and most people that listen to podcasts don't give a shit about sports.
I don't know. I only talk... Okay, here's the problem. The people that I know that listen are friends of mine.
That give a shit about sports.
Exactly.
So you are biased.
I'm admitting this. I'm admitting
Confirmation
as much.
bias.
100%.
Right
Yeah. I'm admitting as much. That's
Yeah.
why I'm saying, I think sports ref... You did your whole last podcast on a sports tragedy, thank you.
It wasn't the last one. I've done a couple on
Was it
sports
2 ago?
stuff.
When was the...
I don't know.
Flying
One was
Yaks?
a Russian hockey team.
That
and
was
the
2
other
ago.
one-
That was 2 ago.
And the other one was MJ.
Yeah.
Which his baseball career wasn't that bad. He
Well,
was just old. which apparently matters in sports.
Beyond prospect status.
Whatever. So we're going to do a disease. So I thought that I would tell you about one that I find particularly terrible.
Okay.
It is one of the most infectious disease ever known to man.
It's not corona or COVID-19.
No. It is about
Too soon.
3 to 4 times more contagious than that.
Okay.
And it is totally preventable and could possibly be eradicated. Would you like to take a guess which one it is?
It's probably part of the MMR, so it's either measles, mumps, or rubella.
Measles and rubellas are pretty much the same thing.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying. I'm guessing one of those.
It's measles.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was going to say that's like the most heavily vaccinated,
Yeah.
trio. Three-headed monster.
Yeah. I don't know why they put mumps with
Hey, can you not move your microphone away from you?
I just needed to lean forward. Check my volume. It's
You're fine. You're fine. I'm just saying, last episode we had a slight problem where Tiff was off like 8 feet away from her mic.
I was quiet.
Because we need to get you one of these sweet arm things like I have.
I agree. So, I don't know why they put mumps in, but rubella is just German measles. It's... The mic is now invading my space.
Yeah, because we're recording a podcast, and that's how this works.
Okay, I'm trying not to let it cause anxiety.
Don't rub your teeth on it or anything, but I know,
but like my nerves and like spatial and like get the fuck away from me is kind of like really high key right now because like I'm going through a flare up. So like every little thing.
A gluten flare up, not like a.
Yeah, not like an attitude flare up, like. A gluten flare up.
It's that time of the month for her.
No, that's not for another 2 weeks. I actually accidentally had a wing that we couldn't tell was coated or not because there was a mix up. Yeah, breaded. There was a mix up at our local bar.
Shout out Aggies.
Yep.
For all you Napoleon folk.
But it was like just slightly breaded enough to be like, did they just change their oil? No, I think this might be breaded because it tastes better.
Because we can't stop watching the YouTube show Hot Ones.
No.
Where they interview celebrities or whatever and eat hot wings. So then we, like, once a week are like, man, I'd go for some hot wings. And our local bar, local, I could definitely hit it with a golf ball.
Oh, you could totally hit it.
I couldn't hit it with like a stone's throw, but I could hit it with a golf ball. They have good wings that are unbreaded, so they're gluten-free enough. And we buy variety packs of hot sauces because we hate ourselves, / love spicy food. So yeah, it's become a problem. And we got them and I was like, oh, these are delicious. And then I realized, oh, it's because they're breaded and seasoned and like deep fried crunchiness.
But you could see just enough of the skin to question whether or not it was breaded or not. So I'm not like stupid. I promise.
And next time we're going to get 8 unbreaded ones for you and 8 breaded ones for me because it was so crunchy. We haven't had breaded wings in so long. I forgot how good they are.
Yeah. Tell them about that delicious bread from our date night that you just literally cut open and described to me. And you're like, this doesn't even need butter.
Okay. So we celebrated our 9th anniversary of marital bliss.
That's a cute way to put it.
We're both not supposed to laugh after I say that. We haven't killed each other in 9 straight years.
And we tried real hard in 2019 and then even harder in the beginning of 2020 before the pandemic. And then COVID happened and we were locked up together. So that was fun.
Yeah, no, it was good. It solidified our thing. And now we're here. So look at us go. But no, we went out to dinner. We went out to one of those dinners like where you're like, what should I wear? Like that's you like going to like anywhere. Yeah, you were like,
can you pick up stuff for dinner tonight? And I was like, shit, now I have to find a shirt. I have to spray myself with something that smells decent because I've showered in 36 hours.
We went to one of those dinners where like the check's going to be bad and then you get it and you're like, that was worse than I thought it was going to be. But anyway, we went there and obviously she's gluten-free because she's got undiagnosed celiacs because her body blows up if she smells a loaf of bread.
I look like I'm 5 months pregnant.
Anyway,
bad.
The waiter comes around. They're the bougie kind of place that doesn't put ice in their water, which we don't go to places like that, but this was one of those places. I didn't know those places exist. Is it for the atmosphere? They don't want all that clinking? Whatever. Stupid. Temp it water. But then they bring out
I love room temperature water.
They bring out you had two drinks that were like 3 sips and flutes and they were $11 a piece. So
look, they were vodka. Nope. They were gin and champagne.
Yeah, I know.
French 75s, guys. Don't puss out and make them with Sprite like poor people do like us. Make them with champagne. They're a lot better.
Anyway, they brought out this bread and they called it like focaccia bread or whatever. But I thought focaccia bread had weird stuff in it. This was a fresh baked loaf, like still warm.
From the local brewery a block away.
Yeah, that also is has
their hops outside.
Yeah. But anyway, it was like the most softest, like delicious bread ever. And she
just rubbed it in my face.
Pretty much.
And that's what real marriage looks like, guys.
Pretty much.
If you're engaged or thinking about it, don't do it.
I don't know about that. As like we have engaged listeners.
Do we?
Big J.
Run. I already warned her when she was here before.
Exactly.
Don't do it.
No. Don't do that to him.
Don't let me photograph your wedding and you'll be fine.
Yeah, James already made that mistake once. Yeah. All right. Anyway,
okay.
We are... You're like, oh, this will be a short episode. I wrote too short. No, you didn't.
No, I didn't. Well, because you went off about bread.
So this might be the last episode of the month because Tiff has written a bunch of long ones.
Shut up. Anyway, so...
Notice the lack of denial there.
I'm not. Yeah. Well, there's like... It's recorded. Like, we know I went off the rails. And we've already gone off the rails. So we're going to talk about measles instead of bread. So we'll start out with...
You couldn't segue that any better? You're
Nope.
not a professional, I can tell.
No. I don't know how the fuck I'm going to segue bread
into measles.
So the most infectious disease known to man. So here it is, guys. So we're going to start with kind of what happens when you get infected.
Okay.
So when you finally realize that
patient zero.
There are a lot of patient zeros.
That was a zombie joke. That's all.
Yeah. So when you finally realize that you are infected, you start with a high fever that spikes...
When you're on the measles.
When you're on the measles. You start with a high fever that spikes to 104 degrees. But at that point, you've already been actively infecting people for about 4 to 5 days.
Like that Foreigner song. Hot-blooded.
Check it and see.
That's 103.
Yeah.
I made Lily listen to that. She did not think it was that good. Because I sing that, those
sing it
lines
to her all the time.
Yeah. And then she's like, this isn't good.
This is the song we sing to you.
You're not wrong. Like, it's not like it's not like one of the 10 best songs of all time, but it's like, I mean, it's...
Except I usually replace the words hot-headed with butt puncher.
It's hot-blooded.
Or hot-blooded, yeah, with butt puncher.
The song's literally called Hot-Blooded.
So I usually sing it to her butt puncher, check it and see.
Then I tried to play her Cold as Ice, and she's like, this isn't any better. And it sounds like the same song. And I was like, yeah. That was kind of the whole game plan back then. Look,
I can get her to listen to my metal. I'm sorry you can't make her listen to your weird old rock.
That's not my music. That's just music that she should know. She just has to be aware of it.
Okay.
She doesn't appreciate it.
Know how much it sucks.
Well, yeah. Chicago's way better than Foreigner.
For sure. So anyway, after you finally develop symptoms for the first time, you've already been infecting people for 4 to 5 days before your first symptom even shows up. So during this time, the measles virus has been infecting the epithelial cells lining the bronchial tubes, which is the skin cells essentially that line the tubes that go into your lungs.
She's telling you guys that. I know that.
I know you know that. I would hope you'd know that, or we're going to have a chat about how you got through school.
Right?
Besides writing answers on your boot sole.
Boot sole?
Your boots? Didn't you write answers on the side?
No. In history in college, or in high school, I would write them on a rubber band on my wrist.
Oh, my sister would do that shit too.
And then you roll it over and roll it back.
Or the nice thing about holding
mine was just dates. I could never remember dates. I still can't remember fucking dates for anything.
It's impossible. The dates aren't important. It's kind of what happens.
Yeah, but they still ask you questions about dates. What year did this happen?
When the Battle of Shiloh happened, all I know is maybe slavery's bad. That should be the point you're teaching us.
And Shia LaBeouf was in Holes.
Full circle? I have not seen Holes.
Neither have I. You're a waxer, ma'am.
I see a lot of holes. Anyway, after the fever, the respiratory symptoms start to show up, which is typical a runny nose or a cough, or if the virus makes its way into your eyes, you'll get conjunctivitis.
That's pink eye.
Yep. And so 2 to 3 days later, you'll notice these little white spots on your tongue and on the inside of your mouth. That's what they
sing about on School of Rock. Junction. What's your conjunctivitis? No? Okay.
No.
I'm just a bill. Do you remember that song?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So these little spots that would develop on your tongue and your mouth, they're called Koplik spots.
Koplik?
Koplik, yep. And
Okay.
if you weren't sure that you had measles by now, you knew 100% sure that you did because these are exclusive to measles.
Okay.
The Koplik spots.
Mm-hmm.
So after the next few days, after these Koplik spots developed, a paint bucket rash that it shows up on everyone will start to develop.
Like when the guy got hit in the face at Home Alone?
Yeah, it starts out like real thick at the hairline. Like if someone would dump
You just let that go. Do you remember when he got
hit
hit?
right in the face?
And his tooth falls out? Yeah.
Not quite that violent.
I could tell you didn't appreciate my joke because you just brushed it aside like, whatever, this idiot. Home Alone?
Down the stairs.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was trying, in my mind, trying to like fast forward through that movie going, when the fuck did he dump a bucket of paint on
He didn't. He hit him with the paint bucket.
Yes.
Yeah. And you called it a paint bucket rash. That's what I assumed it was after.
No, the paint bucket's more like if it got spilled on you. So it starts out real thick at the top of like your head and your hairline and kind of peters out as it heads down your body. But eventually the rash coalesces into one giant big red rash that covers your entire body.
Sunburn style.
Yes, except worse. Because the reason why you develop a rash is because your immune system is destroying all of the measly infected cells in your body, and that's what causes the rash.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So after all of your symptoms had dissipated, you are still capable of spreading measles for another 4 to 5 days, bringing your total time that you are contagious to about 2 weeks. So for 4 days before you even realize you have measles, you're giving it to everybody, and then you're contagious, and then for 4 days after, you're still contagious.
Okay.
So now onto the spread of measles.
Oh, like a nice dinner.
Yes. Have you heard of the R naught? I believe we have heard. We've chatted about the R naught before.
Believe it or not. No?
Nope. So for those of you who have not heard of an R naught, it is how many people are infected.
If you are not in the know. Sorry, these are like, I mean, I'm a biochem major. This is my sweet spot of bad jokes.
Yes. So the R naught is how many people a single infected person can infect secondary infections.
Yeah.
So if they come in contact with a vulnerable population. So the vulnerable populations are the unvaccinated or the immunocompromised who cannot get vaccinated because the vaccine for measles is actually a severely weakened virus. So if you do have something like AIDS or are a child of like less than 12 months, you cannot get the vaccine because it really could kill you. But 99.999% of the population is fully capable of getting the vaccine. So
sorry, I showed her a picture of our dog.
we had to pause for the cause. Anyway,
get out.
So the R naught of measles is anywhere between 8 to 13.
So this is like 7 degrees of separation, just in the worst way.
Yes. So for every one person that is infected, if they were to walk into a room of unvaccinated people, 8 to 13 people could get it. And then those 8 to 13 people could spread it to another 8 to 13
people. Yeah, it's exponential.
Mm-hmm. Yes. This is how disease works, folks. So to put this into perspective, COVID-19 has an R naught of like 1 point something to 6 point something. So as much as that is spreading through the population,
I'm surprised the range is still that wide.
Okay, it's that wide because a lot of people put mask mandates and stuff like that into effect. So it really depends on like population density and how many people are listening in getting it. So that's just how much faster the measles can spread. And another really scary thing about measles is that it can live suspended. Like the viral particles that can affect people, it can live suspended in the air for 2 hours. So someone can walk in, cough, spread their measly air everywhere, and then someone could walk through the cloud of measly airs 2 hours later and still catch
that
measles.
100% has to lead to high R naught. Like
Yes.
that's a crazy amount of time to live outside the body.
Yes.
Like separate from the host.
And in the air, too. It's not like, somebody coughed on a table that no one's going to touch.
It can't fly. But yeah, it'll eventually set. Like gravity
Right, but
will
it
take an effect.
But it takes 2 hours before it hits the surface.
Or no, it'll probably hit the surface. It probably just lives on said surface for 2 hours.
It lives in the air for 2 hours.
Okay, but it can't fly.
No, but it still lives suspended in the air for 2 hours. I found this on Who.
I'm just surprised that it stays in the air.
I don't know how it works.
It would have to rest on a surface. You'd have to think.
No, not according to the CDC and Who. I'm going to believe them.
I'm not saying I don't believe them. I just assumed that they lived outside the body for 2 hours. So if you coughed, it would be in the air, settle, and then if someone touched the surface, they would catch it.
Nope, in the air.
That's weird.
Yeah, that's why it's scary, yo.
Measles are a flying creature.
Yes.
Yes.
So some of the worst outbreaks include the Fiji outbreak of 1857, where measles wound up getting introduced to their island, and since they have never been exposed, it was done via...
There's something in the water.
Mm-hmm. So...
That's a Fiji joke.
Yeah. Look, you want me to go off on a tangent.
No, I don't. Straight and narrow tonight.
So the population of Fiji was exposed via the chief, who was meeting with a bunch of white people, the British, who were going to rule the island of Fiji. So that
how
person
nice
was
of them.
Yes. So that person was exposed while they were in the meetings with the white people in Australia, and they carried it onto a boat and carried it to Fiji, and then he then met with 69 other chiefs.
Giggity.
He met with other chiefs.
He's 69 the other chiefs. Yep, I heard you.
Of other islands.
Uh-huh. Jamie shunned me on Twitter for not...
40 minutes of plugging?
4 minutes of sucking my soul. And I had no comment because I didn't even realize it. So this week I am on my toes.
So, oh yeah? You're on your toes?
Yes, curled and all.
So he spread it to the other leaders, who then spread it amongst the other smaller islands.
Yeah.
And
so those 69 took it to like whatever 69 are not of 8. So they took it to like 500 whatever people. And then it just spread from there. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Eventually a quarter of the population wound up dying.
Wow.
Yep. So there were 400,000 people out of about 150,000. Almost every person...
Wait, 400,000 out of 150,000?
Sorry, 40,000 out of 150,000 people wound up dying.
I just got to check your math
Yep.
every once in a while.
Almost everybody wound up with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were called the Usels instead of just the measles. Sorry, that is a terrible joke.
You spread in the Usels to all Usels.
It used to be the measles, but now they can be the Usels.
So there was a huge outbreak.
I feel like I should. I'm not going to edit that out, but that's so bad that I feel like I should.
Yes.
I mean, we're keeping it. That's how this podcast works.
So there's also a huge outbreak of camp measles during the Civil War, which...
Imagine the sign, like with the post and like the sign going across, Camp Measles.
It sounds like a great summer camp, kids.
Yeah. Send
Have
your kids.
fun.
Yeah.
Don't die. Come back in a wooden box. So this version of measles seemed to have more severe complications than the normal measles. There was twice as many deaths due to disease than actual fighting, and the doctors during the war believed that 9 out of 10 of the deaths related to disease could be traced back to the measles outbreaks and complications from...
What war?
Civil War.
Okay.
Yep.
Sorry, we were in Fiji still in my brain.
Yep. So also if you want like
Did Fiji have a civil war? Are you talking our Civil War?
Our Civil War.
When did we leave Fiji? I was still...
When I went on to the next outbreak, that was really terrible.
I thought camp measles was still happening with the 69 chiefs of Fiji.
No.
Okay, we've left.
Yes, we've left Fiji. Traveled across the other side of the world.
I hope there's more people confused than just me.
A few...
Yeah.
About the same time. That's... When did the Civil War start? 46?
I don't have my rubber band from U.S. History 1 and 2 still, so I don't know. You laugh, but that's probably something that was written on there because I'm horrible with dates. You know this.
Me too. Don't feel bad. So anyway, if you want more information,
Google that shit. Get out of here.
Yes, but also I highly recommend listening to This Podcast Will Kill You, which is the first podcast that I've used as a reference because it's just so good. And they're actual epidemiologists. They studied some diseases with fleas. They have actual
That's
doctorates.
the Aarons, right?
Yes, the Aarons.
Yep.
They're really good. Highly recommend it. They actually go into like the mechanics.
It'd only
of
be
everything.
funnier if they were runners. They'd be the running errands. No? I think it's pretty funny. Sorry.
So bad.
Tonight,
You're lucky you're cute.
that's what we tell the dog all the time.
So anyway, there was also a rash of outbreaks.
A rash? I see what you did there.
I'm glad you caught on to that. So there was a rash of outbreaks in
Well, it's a pretty catchy topic. Sorry, I will stop. I might need another drink.
So these outbreaks were occurring in already vaccinated children in the late 1980s, which prompted adding a second booster to the vaccine schedule, which brought the numbers back down again. So they realized that...
What a novel idea.
I know. Just like a novel virus we might know about.
Maybe.
So
I'm glad this isn't a visual podcast.
Because I just keep side-eyeing.
You
Like, do you
do.
think I'm funny? So this wound up keeping the numbers down until about 2010, when there were only 188 cases of the measles in the U.S.
Okay.
147 of them traced back to some infected, unvaccinated kid that went to Disneyland and then became a super spreader.
Nice.
Yeah, one child.
Place is magical.
Yeah.
Fucking teacup ride.
That's where it started.
He's just he's spinning around. Yeah.
So the measles virus wasn't isolated until 1954, and a vaccine wasn't created. It wasn't used until 1963. So in the meantime, the first account of measles was recorded in the 9th century and was thought to be spread via miasma or bad air.
Yep.
Because if people were like, oh, this smells bad, everybody's going to die because breathing in smelly, dirty air is what kills people.
Move out of the city, folks.
So it wasn't until 1757 that it was proven to be a communicable disease spread through humans by Francis Home, who was a Scottish doctor who had heard...
Could literally be my ancestor.
He really could. This is where you got your middle name from?
Yeah.
Okay.
What was his last name? Holmes?
Home. Just Home.
H-O-M-E?
Yes.
Okay.
So he was a
Just
Scottish...
Home?
Yeah, just Home.
That's weird.
Yes.
That's unsettling.
So I heard them
Francis.
mention it on This Podcast Will Kill You, and I spelled it like H-O-M-M, thinking it was like fancy.
Mm-hmm.
And then I found it on like the history of
Measles.
one of the websites that I was reading. It might have
And
been
it
the
was
CDC,
H-O-M-E?
and it was H-O-M-E. I was like, okay, sir.
I hope he had a sign at his house that said home, home.
Yes.
When you're home, you're home. Sorry. Home is where the heart is. I'll stop.
So he was a Scottish doctor who had heard about some Turkish doctors inoculating people with smallpox as an early vaccine attempt to keep infections less deadly and less horrible. So he was like, well, let's see if this will work for measles. So Holmes sliced open the arm of the most rashy part of his measly infected volunteer.
Okay.
And he soaked
a lot of adjectives in there.
Yes. So he soaked cotton balls in the said measly blood. And he
This measly blood.
Yes. And then he gathered 12 other non-infected children, volunteers, you know.
Sure.
Yep.
Poor people.
Yep. He sliced open their arms
Okay.
and rubbed the measly blood.
Consent is key, sir.
Yes. Not in 1750. They do whatever the fuck they want.
They're still... Never mind.
They're still children. But
I don't wanna-
1950, no one gave a shit. Or 1750, no one gave a shit.
Yeah.
1950, no one gave a shit either.
I was going to say, yeah.
Kids didn't matter until like now.
I just can't imagine a kid or a parent be like, yeah, use my kid's arms. Slice it away.
They have 17 other who's giving a shit.
Arms?
No, children.
They just got my chomps running around there. Sorry. I had to make another Pokemon Go reference for it.
We haven't had a Harry Potter reference in a while, so let's see if we can squeeze it in there too.
I got you.
So he wound up rubbing the measly infected blood into the children's open wounds, and then 10 out of 12 of them became infected, proving that it wasn't just through the bad air, that it was spread from person to person.
From the bump and grind.
Yes, and somehow none of these children died.
None of the ones that he infected?
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. So this was also proved that since it was not spreadable from dirty air but via infected humans, that people needed to be isolated when they were all measly.
Mm-hmm.
So in the meantime, measles just kept spreading. By 1912, the U.S. recognized measles as a nationally notifiable disease, which required cases to be reported.
A reportable disease.
Yes, a reportable disease.
We still have those today.
Like the flu?
Reportable diseases? Mm-hmm. No, that's like HIV and MRSA is a reportable disease. Stuff like that.
Oh.
Stuff that's contagious.
Yes.
Yeah.
And like
measles is we don't test for measles in my lab, but
no, because there's still a relatively rare occurrence. I mean, it's getting worse. I mean, 2020 and 2021 was a sharp downfall, but I think that has a lot to do with the fact that people were separating and wearing masks so that a respiratory disease doesn't spread.
Say what?
I know.
Proceed. Trying to keep her on the rails here.
So in the first decade of reporting, so that first decade of 1912 to 1922, the average per year was 6,000 measles-related deaths.
Okay.
Yep. And by the time that the vaccine was distributed in 1963, nearly all children in the United States were infected with measles at some point prior to the age of 15. Kind of like how we just willy-nilly let our entire generation get chicken pox, and now people like our age in their 30s are getting shingles from it. It's a bad idea. With all the kids getting infected, it was estimated that 3 to 4 million people a year were getting infected with measles. That's just how infectious it was. In fact, nowadays an outbreak is considered 3 or more infections of measles in one state or district.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
so super low.
They don't fuck around. They're like, one person gets it. Don't come outside for a month.
We put them down.
Yeah, they're like, go hide out in this little like room,
bubble boy style.
Yes, yeah. Like, stay the fuck away from everybody.
Yeah. Get really good at Zoom, kid.
Yep. So here's when it gets worse. We have the complications.
It's probably those 12-year-olds I lose to on Warzone.
Probably. They've just been stuck inside with measles all day.
His name's Measles for life. Damn you.
So the complications, which are most common in people over the age of 20 or children 5 and under. The common ones are ear infections, which occur in about 1 out of every 10 infected, and diarrhea, which
diarrhea?
Occurs, it's a complication.
Diarrhea.
Diarrhea. It's very dire.
Yes.
This occurs in less than 1 out of 10. So the slightly less common but much more severe are pneumonia, which occurs in 1 out of every 20. So it's not that uncommon, which can result in infections and pus and fluid buildup in or around the lungs, which can
I love a good pus buildup.
And this can lead to lung damage or possibly death because we need oxygen to live. And like the lungs are where we get our oxygen from.
Home is where the heart is.
So another complication is encephalitis, which occurs in 1 to 2 out of 1,000 cases. And encephalitis is a brain infection or inflammation that from measles that can lead to blindness, brain damage, seizures, and all different sorts of bodily function issues in the future, depending on where the brain gets damaged, and death. So ultimately, 1 to 3 out of 1,000 measles infections end in death.
Okay, so that's actually lower than I thought you were going to say.
Yeah.
Because I thought it was going to be like...
The problems aren't the death part.
I thought it was going to be like 1%.
Yeah.
Like, no. That was like, I thought it would be like...
It's 0.1 to 0.3%, but the problem is that when you have 3 to 4 million people contracting it a year and every single child in the United States to have ever been infected with it, like in the...
You're talking tens of thousands a year. Yeah.
Yes. And that's the United States. We're not talking about worldwide.
Yeah, because I assume the MMR vaccine isn't like
it's hard to get to people because it's a live attenuated virus, so it needs to be like done within a very specific time frame. It needs to be kept cool, and when you're trying to take it out to like the deserts of Africa, good luck. So,
and by cool you mean on dry ice.
Yeah.
Sub-zero temperatures, yes. They just needed those cans, the cans from Jurassic Park, the Barbasol cans. Yeah.
So this was before the vaccine campaign that started in the 1960s. There was an average of 400 to 500 people in the United States dying each year, and then 48,000 people hospitalized, with 1,000 people experiencing encephalitis, which is more than just like, oh, brain swelling. Like, it causes severe brain damage later on.
Yeah. It's like the long-term effects of syphilis.
Yes, because your brain's not supposed to swell, guys.
It's not?
Yeah, there's very limited space in our skulls. We don't want to like make it worse.
They were just using more than that 10%. No?
Nope.
Okay.
They're really trying to cramp their style. Get it? Because swollen brain would cause a lot of cramped space. It's fine. This is why I don't make the jokes. And then,
tune into the bonus episode for more zingers like that one, folks.
Fuck. Right off. There's a lot more swearing in the bonus episodes. That's my forte.
There is.
So the vaccines wind up happening and taking place, and the numbers start dropping nearly in half each year. In fact, measles have technically been eliminated in the United States since the year 2000, which all that means is that there aren't any domestic cases. And that there's also no continued transmissions over the course of like 12 years traced back, not 12 years, 12 months traced back to like patient zero.
Okay.
All or most, depending on if you are on the CDC's website or the WHO's website, of the outbreaks that happen in the United States come from, drum roll please,
Disney World?
Unvaccinated people.
I was going to say Disney World.
So they're mostly American tourists, bringing it all back to the United States after traveling abroad where measles is still endemic, and spreading it to other unvaccinated pockets of people here. So in order for the virus to be eradicated, which it can be because measles are just a human exclusive virus, so there's no way that an animal host could catch it and then spread it back to humans.
Not a zoonotic?
No, it is not a zoonotic disease. I'm going to leave that awkward pause for everybody to fill in a disease we know well.
I just wanted to use a 5-cent word.
So the population has to be a 90 to 95% vaccinated in order to hopefully eradicate this disease. But due to poor access to medical care, mostly outside of the United States, and the lovely anti-vax movement that has been ramping up for decades now, outbreaks keep popping up. And the numbers keep escalating.
Thanks, Jenny McCarthy.
Who's that doctor?
I don't remember. He's been so...
You did a whole...
I was supposed to, and then all of his research got debunked.
Wait, you were supposed to be on the person on the side that...
Of vaccines?
Oh, God, you had to argue...
Against vaccines in 2010 when all of his research got debunked after I got assigned my topic.
That's fucking sweet. Also, how miserable. That'd be like, I'm half-assing this
no,
because
my professor,
he's a prick.
my professor told me that we're just going to have a discussion about it. Because
Good.
he's like,
Guys,
anything you could have built your case around.
He was licensed in the UK, came to the United States, paid by lawyers, lost his license because he's a cuck. He's a piece of shit. I'm sorry.
So we had a discussion about it is all.
Yeah. I thought you had to do a whole presentation.
No, that was the vaccines cause autism thing. That's all, yeah.
Yeah, which he's lying, guys. He lied. He got bought and paid for his fucking research.
And the whole part of it was, it's just like, if, say, most autism diagnoses happened when people were like, instead of being like 4, 5, 6 when you get your vaccines, if it was like 12, 13, 14, they would say like, puberty causes autism because of it's the timing of it all.
Because most people don't get diagnosed with autism until they're 2 or 3 anyway, because they have no motor skills until then. So you don't even fucking know it's a thing.
Yeah. Anyway, that's for a different, hopefully never on this podcast.
No.
Discussion. Mm-mm. But anyway.
And also, I would rather have a kid with autism than what I'm about to tell you happened to people that wind up with fucking measles.
Okay.
Sorry.
aggressive.
Yes.
Luckily, we have one kid.
And she is fully vaccinated.
And doesn't have autism. So
wow, would you looky there?
Well, I mean, in our very small case study, yes.
Very small.
Yeah.
Case study of one.
Yeah.
So anyway, in 2019, the U.S. nearly lost its elimination status when it reached its highest peak of measles cases since 1994. There were 1,282 cases in 31 different states or districts. And so these were not just spreading in like little isolated cases of like 3 or 4 people.
What year was this?
2019.
Okay.
Yes. So it was spreading through the population like the flu instead of just like an isolated incidence. Except it's obviously way more dangerous than the flu. Way more dangerous. And across the world today, because the vaccine rates have fallen between like 85% for the first dose and 71% for the second, the rate has climbed 50% since 2016. There is now an estimated 869,770 cases worldwide, with 207,500 estimated deaths in 2019.
It's a lot.
Yes. I think it equates to like 24 people an hour. Yeah. Just think real hard on that. So, and then in 2020 and 2021, they don't have any good numbers because, you know, kind of things fell to the wayside when they're tracking another communicable disease. So it actually wound up halting or slowing down like the mass vaccination efforts for other countries. So from the sounds of it, the CDC and the WHO are worried about numbers spiking because people are so under vaccinated that it will be easy to get infected and spread because they're not on the vaccine schedule that they've proven reduces measles.
On the vax.
Yep. They're not on the vax. So they're concerned about a huge spike in numbers, and they are currently scrambling to get vaccinations going again after everything stood still for the past year. So now I'm going to get to the worst part of measles. Ready?
Yes.
Okay. So there are 2 separate studies that took place in 2019 after looking at cases in the wildly unvaccinated children of an Orthodox Protestant community in Holland. That
Holland.
The country.
Okay.
Yeah,
not Michigan.
Like Deutschland. No, not Michigan.
The wooden shoe folks.
Yeah, so they cited religious exemption. And it was discovered after looking at the amount of antibodies to all of the germs, not just measles, all of them.
The germs, yes.
Yes. So the measles.
I don't know if we should say that in Eastern Europe.
Oh, no. So measles do this fun thing where it essentially destroys about 33 to 40% of your immune system's memory.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
It's like the blue screen of death.
Yep. So it's like starting all over again. It is the equivalent of what happens to your immune system from 5 to 10 years of untreated HIV in the matter of 2 weeks.
I thought you were going to say like chemoradiation.
No. That's probably, I think that's worse. No, untreated HIV that takes 5 to 10 years to eradicate this much of your immune system. Measles does in 2 weeks.
It's efficient.
Yep. So you are immunocompromised for the next 2 to 3 years while you develop all the antibodies you'd once had from all of those germs.
Yep. Start drinking some pond water.
You won't find any flesh-eating amoebas in there at all. So it gets worse. Of course it does. Yes. So there's a rare disorder that they are finding is associated specifically with measles, only disease that does this. That is also a somewhat recent discovery after a rapid uptick in cases since 2010. They're actually able to study this phenomenon. It's called the... I meant to try to say this out loud at least once before this.
It's a good time to try it.
Yep. The subacute sclerosing peninsulitis.
Nailed it.
Yep. So it is a...
I can't see your notes, but that sounds...
Would you like to try to read it?
No. I don't want to not...
Encephalitis, we know that one.
Cool.
It's the brain. So this is a slow virus infection of the central nervous system. It usually presents in late childhood or adolescence and affects children under the age of 2 at most. So you get the measles. If you've gotten the measles underneath the age of 2, this could happen to your child.
It doesn't have like a... What do they call that? Not an abbreviation.
Yeah, it's SSP.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that called? Not an abbreviation. It's called a...
Yes, an abbreviation. You're just thinking an acronym.
Acronym.
Yes.
Yeah, good. All I could think was like, algorithm, like all the words
All the
that
A
sound
words.
like acronym. But
Asshole.
Nope.
Just an A word. I was just throwing the only A word that came to mind. Anyway. After a case of the measles has passed, apart from all of the high risks like complications and death and like your immune system getting nearly completely wiped out, once you think you're fully out of the woods, after a latent period of 6 to 8 years, your child may start to have lessened motor skills, such as jerky head movements, lose their ability to walk, memory loss, blindness, seizures, and all of this winds up leading to coma and ultimately death. 100% of the time.
When they have this
The
SSP.
It is not.
Yeah.
It's not curable.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
That's...
There's nothing they can do about it. They can try to prolong it. Sometimes there's like people that will have spontaneous.
Have they tried lobotomies?
Bringing it back.
Yeah.
So
I got this ice pick here. So
it might work. This really long ice pick.
I can do like 12 of them in a minute.
Take a deep breath, guys. I'm going to roll up my sleeves here. Shove it up your nose. So your child will die within 1 to 3 years of the diagnosis.
It's brutal.
The only way to stop it from happening is getting your kid vaccinated.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And that is measles.
You just ended on a harsh note.
I did. I just really wanted to drive home that last statement.
About, the MMR vaccine that is... Okay, regardless of your thoughts on present vaccine, the MMR has been around for a long time. It is proven it's super effective.
It has been around since 1963.
Uh-huh.
Measles has not evolved or mutated at all. They're using the exact same strain from some 13-year-old kid that they isolated since 1950s.
The real shame of the
It's
whole
fine.
MMR is that rubella is such a pretty name. Like,
It really is.
Right?
Yeah.
We should name our next goldfish rubella.
Yeah. Yes, I agree.
Get 3 of them. Name them measles, mumps, and rubella.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. That's what we're doing this weekend, guys.
We need a bigger fish tank.
I just needed to shine some light on this rather shitty story you just told us all for 45 minutes.
Yeah. So the sources are the CDC, the WHO,
Okay.
the Measles and Rubella Initiative.
Only in your state.
Nope. So brainfoundation.org, the Mayo Clinic, WebMD, and there was also the papers and the studies at the University of Minnesota Center for Infectious Disease
I
Research.
believe you said that wrong.
University of
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
There you go.
Their centers for infectious disease research, and it was titled "Measles Do Long-Term Damage to the Immune System." And
And then
they
at
also
the end
have
I said, "Go Gophers."
Yeah, they also have.
You said like you know that the Golden Gophers are the Minnesota mascot.
Sure, why not?
You would have.
Why golden gophers?
I don't know.
That's obscure.
Brick, I think I ate your chocolate squirrel.
I think I ate your golden gopher.
The Golden Gopher sounds kind of like a sex move.
Yeah, it does.
Oh, dude, I totally gave her the Golden Gopher.
The bird's excited. So underneath that article where they kind of gave a synopsis of the studies, you can actually find links to the actual studies in Holland.
Yep.
And then also this podcast will kill you, which is great and you should give a listen to.
Aren't they TPWKY?
Sure.
I was going to shout
Acronyms.
out their Twitter handle. I think it's an acronym.
Yeah, they can't put the word kill in it.
What?
Yeah. That's why it's an acronym.
They should have...
Twitter wouldn't allow it. That's how long I've been listening to them, you guys.
That you remember when they created their Twitter handle?
Yep.
Hold on. I'm going to search it. It's TPWKY. At TPWKY.
Yep.
At Tupakibi.
At Tubikibi. They're very smart people.
Tipokai.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, you should check them out
Yep.
after you listen to us.
Yeah, and then go listen to a better version.
Yeah, go listen to a professional podcast
Yes. With people that actually know what the fuck they were talking about.
where people get paid to do this.
Do they, though? Yeah, they do. They're part of the Exactly Right Network, so they're making money.
Yeah, and they have patrons.
They do.
Like, we appreciate ours, but I'm just assuming they have more patrons than we do.
Yes. All
Good
right.
for them.
You ready to wrap it up then? It's gone on long enough.
Has it?
Yep.
I was just getting started.
Oh, that's a shame.
Okay. We were going to record the bonus podcast tonight, but we're not going to because it's too late. So,
Look, whose fault is that?
I've given a full explanation. My first paragraph of the bonus podcast is an apology. So, August, right? The bonus episode for August should have came out today or yesterday or tomorrow, anytime in August. But we had no power for 5 days, and we had our anniversary. And
the camper mishap.
Yeah. So it's been a comedy of errors the entire month.
It really has.
It's been a very stressful month. So it will come out, the quote-unquote August bonus episode will come out September 1st.
So you guys will get 2 episodes in September.
So yeah, what day? That will be Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday, and it's I think it's good because I wrote it. I think it's at least entertaining.
Sure.
So anyway, that'll be coming out September 1st, and then there'll be a September one, hopefully sometime in September.
Not the last day.
Yeah, not the September.
He has a 3-day weekend coming up, guys. Don't let him give you any excuses.
Oh, Labor Day?
Yes.
Yeah, we should do it that weekend.
Yeah.
Now we're talking. All right.
We have other...
I know but okay, so we're recording a super long episode on that Sunday, so then we don't have another episode to record that entire week. So you would think we should be able to record the bonus one that week.
Sure.
Anyway, we are literally planning.
Don't worry, another tree will fall down.
We're just planning this podcast with you guys. That's how important you are.
Yeah.
So anyway,
brainstorm with us, guys.
This is coming out. This is the Tuesday episode because it's Monday night. Russian life over here, and then I don't know what Fridays is on. Probably more horrible things. It's kind of what we do here.
Yeah, I found this topic and was like, ooh, we haven't done something like this in a really long time, and this is legit. And then I started researching it and went, wow. Well, I'm already dedicated.
All right. Well, there's a cliffhanger. She's a professional over there, folks.
Yes.
Anyway, thanks for listening. You've made it this far.
Congratulations.
You did it. You nailed it. Okay. All right. Goodbye.
Bye. Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.
Oof, that was terrible.